Welcome back, dude and dudettes, to another wild episode of Send It Mate. We're here to talk about all things hunting and outdoors. And today, we've got something that'll keep your gear running smoother than a dingo's getaway.
That's right. Our show is brought to you by High Caliber, the gun and knife oil company that knows how to keep your firearms and blades in tip-top shape.
High Caliber is like the secret sauce for hunters, anglers, and outdoorsy folk everywhere. It's like the magic potion that makes your gun and knives happier than a dog with two tails.
You know, guys, I've been using High Caliber oil for a while now, and let me tell you, it's the duck's nuts. My rifle practically sings a lullaby when I take it out hunting.
And speaking of lullabies, ever tried sneaking up on a deer with a squeaky gun? It's a prime way to end up with no venison in the freezer. You'll be hungrier than a vegan at a bacon festival.
Absolutely. But with High Caliber oil, your gun will be quieter than a ninja in moonlight. You'll be stalking your prey with the grace and stealth of a mountain lion.
High Caliber doesn't just keep things quiet, it also prevents rust and corrosion, so you won't find your gear looking like it spent a season at the bottom of a creek.
That's right, and for you knife enthusiasts out there, High Caliber has got you covered too. Your trusty blade will slice through anything smoother than butter on a hot biscuit.
So, folks, don't let your gear become a rusty, squeaky mess. Head on over to highcaliber.com.au and grab a bottle of their oil today.
And if you use the code SENDITMATE at checkout, you'll get a special discount. I say again, use the code SENDITMATE for all your oil slick, stealthy hunting needs.
Thanks to High Caliber, you'll be sending it in style and silence.
So, gear up, oil up, and send it, mate. High Caliber, the ultimate oil for the ultimate hunter.
Hello.
Welcome, you good dude and dudettes.
What's cracking?
Not much.
Wow, let's get everyone excited straight up.
Yeah, God.
Hype!
I took pre-workout this afternoon, and I think it's wearing off.
Oh, you're coming down.
Crashing.
It's a downer.
Shit, bro.
By pre-workout, do you mean lines of cocaine?
No, I mean pre-workout, C4. But
Yeah, some
fun
lines
trivia
of
for you.
cocaine.
Fun trivia for you, actually. When C4, I'm pretty sure it's C4, when it first came out, one of its ingredients was Coke.
For what purpose?
C4?
Pre-workout.
No.
Yeah. So I was in the army and it came out and sort of like pre-workout started becoming a thing. And then one of our bosses stood up the front of everyone and said, if you're taking it, you can't because it's actually like some illegal ingredients in there.
There was some illegal stimulants in it. It wasn't Coke, though.
Oh, I don't know. That was the rumour with the boys, but I don't know if it was Coke. But, I mean, we could fact check that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, in
It's not.
my mind, I thought you'd switch to C4, the explosive.
Oh, no,
Like, why the fuck would that have cocaine in
Yeah.
it?
no. C4 is in the pre-workout.
Workout
Yeah.
supplement.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, we all had to stop taking it. And then I believe they took it off the shelf. I don't know if it was C4. It could have been.
You sure it wasn't
pre-workout.
Razor?
I have no idea, man. But I'm pretty sure it was like an illicit drug that was in it.
No, it wasn't. It was a stimulant cocktail that didn't meet the Australian standards.
So cocaine.
Well, it could very well have been cocaine. I don't know exactly what it was, but yeah, I remember that actually.
Anyway. Welcome to season 3, episode 11. Hot damn.
Past halfway for this season.
We are. We're past halfway and we're one step closer to season 4.
Susan 4.
Like there's another season of you fuckers talking. Oh, shit. Anyway, so I got point of interest this week. I'll drive straight into it. I got to go away this weekend for
Lucky duck.
I'm Ryan.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm Josh.
And I'm Caleb, and we forget what we're supposed to do sometimes.
Well, it went quiet, so I was just taking the reins. I was grabbing it, the bull by the horns.
No, we're all on it.
Jumping
We're
the
on
gun,
a
as
downer
they
because
say.
you didn't launch straight into I'm Josh.
Yeah.
I'm Caleb.
Oh, well,
and
we can
I'm
start
Ryan.
again if you like.
Should we start again?
Nah, let's
too early on.
we just let's give the listeners a authentic experience of how we're feeling tonight.
Just keep the fuck ups in there. Keeping it real, bro.
behind the sscenes.
Not 100%
I was about to
switch
say
time.
backstairs, but behind the scenes.
Backstairs?
Yeah.
What are you doing on the backstairs?
I don't know. Dropping the mail off.
Careful where you tread, bro.
Don't do your pedo laugh. It's fucked.
All right, so
Anyway, what'd you do? You went away.
I went away this weekend with some mates, Richie, Steve. My dad was there, old Porter. Porter.
Shout out to Porter.
And Hayden, Jacob, and Shannon Couch.
Shannon.
Yeah, Couchy got a hall pass and got to go out for a weekend.
Wow.
So
I bet he changed the date on it as well, so he got an extra day.
yeah, probably.
Turned the 7 to the 8.
Love how I was like, you got a fox, and you're like, you got a hall pass. You got a hall pass to go get a fox.
Yeah. So we're out to fill the freezers actually this weekend, and sadly Couchy did not get his first deer, but he did shoot a fox, and it was a pretty good shot from. I wasn't there. But how the boys were describing it, he was sort of on the move and Couchy free-handed at 100 metres. So
Yeah, sounds about right.
yeah, Shannon and his natural athleticism. Fuck you. Anyway, it was a good trip. Our very first morning, we got out. We put in some Ks, and the wind was sort of just like blowing a mess. It was just swirling and carrying on like it does down in the southeast. So anyway, I saw a bunch of deer and I thought, okay, the wind had just turned as I saw it. So I was like, okay, let's boogie out of here and we'll swing wide a few Ks and come in on them into the wind. Anyway, as we've gone to do that, we've gotten around to sort of like the J part of curling around on them. And I've looked through to my left and we've just gone past some scrub and there was nothing there, so naturally, my eyes are back onto the front, scanning out in this like sort of open area, and I just hear from the back from old Porter, deer, Josh, fucking deer, fucking deer, mate.
There was no fucking, let's be honest.
Yeah. And
Say, look, Joshua, are you listening?
I thought he would just shoulder his rifle and shoot, but he said that I was too close, and I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. So Hayden and I was with Hayden as well, and we sort of like turned to our left, took a knee, and I was sort of sitting there waiting for Hayden to shoot because I'm like, oh, well, Hayden hasn't shot a deer before, so I was like, oh, I'll let him shoot, and it was like this awkward ass pause where there was no one fucking shooting the deer, and I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is going on? And like time had passed, and I was watching the mannerisms of the deer, and it started to change. They had no idea that we were there to begin with, but they'd noticed us at this stage, and I was like, "Fuck, someone's got to shoot now." So I've just shouldered my rifle and just fucking cracked one off, and it was like an unspoken permission that everyone else could fire. so fucking Hayden shoots, drops another deer, and there was 5 altogether, and 2 of them sort of broke cover and ran out into the open right in front of Dad. Dad's. This is a bit of an ND actually, but so Dad sat there and he's just like gone to ground. My old man doesn't move too quick at the best of times, so he's gone to ground, shouldered it, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, fuck yeah, he's gonna do this. I just like there's just this awkward pause. I've let out a meh to bail up the deer. It stopped, looked straight at Dad, and Dad's like, you could just see Dad's smile. He's like, yeah, I've got this. Click. Fuck.
Oh, no.
So, and I actually, when I heard the click, I was like, oh, he didn't chamber around. And anyway, he's gone to cycle another round in. The deer have spooked and fucking piss bolted. And he's sitting there carrying on. And I'm like, oh, I thought he short stroked the rifle. So for short stroking means he didn't work the bolt all the way rearward to pick up a round. Turns out he didn't. Turns out it was a soft struck round.
Oh,
Yeah. So it was a munition fail.
fuck. That's unlucky.
So just for those playing at home, what's a soft struck round?
So it's where the firing pin doesn't strike the primer with full force.
So it doesn't hit it hard enough to set the
to
primer
ignite.
off to ignite the gunpowder.
Yeah. And like Dad was carrying on and I've gone over and he's like, what? It should have gone off. I don't understand. And I've looked at it around and I'm like, oh, God. It's like and it was a good opportunity for Dad to shoot a deer, and I'm like, nah, mate, it's fucking stop struck. Later on that day, we were at camp, and he's like, oh, I want to shoot that round again, see if it'll go off. I'm like, yeah, okay, no dramas. And he did, and it went off. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me.
Fucking hell. What was he using?
It's 22 to 50. Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, so the beautiful Seiko came out. This thing's a Seiko 75 in 2250, and the thing just sings, man. It is, and it
we've all shot
looks
that, haven't we?
fucking nice. Yeah.
I've shot a lot of.
I reckon
game
that
with
was one of
rifle.
the first rifles that on the first trip that I went on with you guys.
Would have been.
It was that one in the 308.
Yeah, it would have been Dad's AI, maybe.
Yeah.
Dad's AI is just cumbersome and ridiculous.
Yeah, but you can put anyone behind that thing and they will hit anything.
It does shoot extremely well with 90% of like ammunition or factory hand loads, but it's just so heavy that it just does not recoil. I mean, I've had it on full power. I think it could be a 24 power. It's a Night Force, but I can't remember.
I reckon you're right, yeah.
And I've shot it 100 meters, and the thing does not move, and you just stay on target. Like it does like a little bit of a vibrate, and that's about it. And at full power, you can stay on target at 100 meters. It's ridiculously heavy.
And you've carried that thing for hours through the bush.
Yeah, our last pig hunt, man. Like
Yeah.
together as a group, our last pig hunt. Yeah, I think I lugged that around for.
And it's about as big as you.
Yes, yes, it is. It's not as big as my dick.
Well, it was really hard carrying a tripod and carrying a tripod, wasn't it? Yeah.
We've got these fucking preset sounds, but we never use them, mate.
You do. That's
Oh,
on you.
yeah. You got to earn it, though.
Yeah, you do, actually.
Anyway, so, we ended up going back to camp, hung the deer for a while. Actually, I packed out the deer, and it was ridiculous. Man, I'm getting old, eh? I'm fucking feeling it so bad. Just before I jump onto the rest of the story quickly, I do want to point out, and I will put up some photos on our Instagram, but those who say you cannot use a match grade projectile on animals, fucking talking shit, mate. I was using a 168 grain Sierra Match King, and it blew like a hole in the other side. So it went through, blew a hole in the other side of the deer that was bigger than my fist. Like I could have fisted the fucking
You using a
exit wound.
308?
Yeah, yeah.
It's already dead, man. You don't have to fist
man.
it. It's called necrophilia.
It doesn't talk back or move.
But the upside as well is that the entry point, which would be what, 5, what's the diameter of a 308?
0.308 of an inch.
No, like in millimeters. What's 0.308? Is it roughly about six
so
mil?
30% of, so like 8 mil,
Yeah. So, I mean,
9 mil.
Josh's penis would fit snug into that as well.
No,
What is it?
Maybe not. I can force it in.
Are you actually looking up?
I'm just double checking because I don't want to say how big it is in. And 7.62.
Yeah, that is not my intention here. I was leading in with a serious sentence to crack a joke, and now you guys are all like, "Oh no, let's just fact check that one for him." Totally ruined
Jokes
the
have
bit.
just gone over our head again.
No, my head
Totally.
was just like in another world. Then I'm like trying to comprehend the joke, and then I'm like,
I
hang on,
wonder
what is it again?
To us, that was a serious question. What's the diameter of the entry?
Yeah,
wound?
that's
We're like,
it's all the delivery of the joke. Anyway, moving on.
Well, people were getting back to us on Facebook and Messenger this week saying that you are funny. So,
I am
okay.
fucking funny,
Yes.
and thank you very much for the quality
You
feedback.
are. And at this point in time, the feedback has been great because we've all been saying that Ryan's just not funny. so thanks for blowing.
It was
our
Are You Okay Day the other day, so I'm assuming they're just trying to support him a bit, make sure he's okay.
Yeah, maybe I'm really not funny, and they're like, maybe we should just give him a little bit of a lift up. He sounds like he's a fucking piece of shit and probably hates himself. So let's just
you're
give him a little bit of a leg up in the old,
You're all right.
self-esteem.
You are funny. And I have noticed that you've stopped bellowing out in song randomly. randomly, which is lovely.
I tried to put an effort not to. I mean, I did start singing as soon as I put my headphones on tonight.
Oh, dear. Get it out of the system before we start.
It's natural, man. It's natural. It's just one of those things where I'm trying to fight nature when I don't sing. And I've got such a sweet, sultry voice as well.
You have a good voice, actually. I'd say out of all of us, you have the best radio voice.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know about that.
And like we're saying that as Caleb sounds like a...
Yeah, Caleb sounds like an AIDS-infested bucket.
Wow. What a description.
There's a bucket of AIDS.
Okay, that was funny.
Well, at least we didn't record 2 nights ago when I was sounding like a fucking transvestite prostitute.
What, choking on 2 big black ones?
Yeah, like... Yeah, I did not sound good. I don't sound great tonight either, but...
Guys.
Yeah, 2 nights ago, that's what you would have heard. Just, it's not bubbling in my throat.
Is this because you caught the COVID?
No, confirmed not, because I had my first ever COVID test on Monday morning.
Oh,
wow.
So you had long things put down your throat.
They were genuinely staggered that I had never had a COVID test.
Really?
Yep.
Have you had one, Ryan?
I've had 4.
Fuck me.
What the fuck?
Oh, because of work. Every time there's a little bit of the sniffles, I've got to go get tested. Because I work in high-risk environments.
That's fair. Yep. I'm not going to share how many times I've been tested.
Yeah, and yeah, but you don't really need to. Like, if you live pretty isolated anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
You're like, you have no friends. No one wants to see you.
The only people that are going to catch COVID from me is you two.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. That's probably how I got sick.
But I'm not sick.
But yeah, no, it wasn't actually that bad. I didn't mind the old COVID test. So I'm like, because I had never had one before. I'm like, what the fuck am I in for? I've heard all these stories.
It's intrusive, I've heard.
Nah, it wasn't that bad. You just like, I just
you
drove in.
You used to long things down your throat. So.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Mostly up your nose, but anyway. Throat and nose, but...
What the fuck? Oh, he's doing the 1.5 meter rule.
I'm at 1.1. Can you move back, please?
Oh, shit. Oh, no. Yeah,
I'm 1.5.
You're 1.3.
You touch me. You were like 200 off me then.
I was walking up Anstey's Hill.
Bang on 1.5.
you, 1.5.
Great, I'm
you.
in the safety zone. I cannot get COVID where I'm sitting.
From Caleb. I was actually walking up Anstey's Hill the other day, and they've got a sign for the meterage rule, 1.5 rule, but instead of there's distance between the 2 people, there's a kangaroo as a reference for the distance. And you're like, what?
I think someone's got a bit of a off idea of how big a kangaroo is.
Nose to tail, is that supposed to be 1.5 meters?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but like the distance between the measurement of the 2 people on the sign, they had stuck a kangaroo there.
It'd be funny. Like,
I should have taken a
tourists are
photo.
like, we need to find a kangaroo so that we know that we've got the right measurements.
Just feel like keep a kangaroo between you at all times.
But there are no tourists because of COVID.
No, there's still tourists. They still get in. It's called smuggling now. Van life equals smuggle life, bro.
I reckon actually if there is such thing as a COVID passport, there will become a market for...
Oh, fuck yeah. It's not just, I'm going to go to Western Australia for the weekend. It's like, we're going to go to Western Australia. Can someone call Bob the drug dealer because we need his contacts?
Brob.
It's the difference between Barbara and Bob. He's post-transition. So we need drug dealers will become the people smugglers in the future because they're just the seedy fuckers that do that. That's my...
Or just fake COVID passports.
Yeah.
Oh, you're totally ruining my
But I guess that's a
making
form
Josh
of
hide in
smuggling.
the
That would
trunk
be
of a car thing.
Yeah, just
That would
to go
be
to the local
easier.
shops.
Yeah.
Then fucking driving 26 hours from Adelaide to Perth in the fucking, I don't know.
Oh, you,
In the boot.
in the boot.
Because you have to leave from your house in the boot. You don't just get in the boot when you get to the checkpoint.
Yeah. Oh, so I don't know if I should say this, talking about smuggling, but it did happen. Fuck. I hope no one... I'm pretty sure no one that's in any position of rank is listening to this in the army. But so when I was posted to a certain state up north of Australia, so we've got like a main gate into base. The rest of but the base is obviously fenced off. and patrolled. And it used to be we would man the gate, but it changed, and they obviously brought in Chubb Security or whatever, Serco, whoever does it. But anyway, you weren't allowed to have women on base unless you signed them in, and then they only had 24 hours. Yeah, so what a lot of the boys did, right? What I've heard the boys
Allegedly.
was put females in the fucking boot and drive them in. Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah, and then they could stay for longer than 24 hours or whatever it was.
So were they like out on parade and they just had women just fucking around
In the lines,
their room?
yeah, sitting there in the room or whatever. Yep.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like I'd go like from like breakfast after PT, instead of going to the mess, I'd be the one person that fucking went back to my room to go make breakfast. Anyway, you'd be walking along and you'd hear them sitting there listening to the TV and that. You'd be like, oh, there's a person in there, there's a person in there. Yeah.
There you go.
That was really hard to get out for some reason. I think I had a mini stroke.
How would they? What would they just walk out? Like the birds would just walk out and they wouldn't have to sign. Like there'd be no one.
No, they'd get put in the boot to get out again. So you'd see cars like 100 metres down the road, they'd be pulling over. They're like either let chicks out or let chicks in the boot. And you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So once they're on base, they're kind of stuck until the dude's like,
You may leave
let's
now.
go.
Pretty much. I mean, if she sort of like ended up walking around by herself, which did happen as well, like Serco or whatever would pull them up and escort them off base.
So that's just boys being boys.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, many stories. Not sure if they should fucking be on the
Probably
radio.
should keep that under your hat.
No,
anyone-
not my stories. Stories from other dudes, man. Like, oh, God. Some of the shit some of the boys used to do. Oh, my God.
I mean, we've heard a couple of those stories, and I mean, there's a whole different world.
Yeah, man, the army was definitely different. And I was, a pretty straighty 180 kid that was naive. And then,
you're
walk
eating
into
your
this
breakfast in your room by yourself. Do you have any mates or what?
world. Oh,
You're like the equivalent of the kid that went to the library during lunch break. I mean, that was me. So that's
look, at the start of my career, man, the first year or so, I sort of kept to myself a fair bit. Yeah, definitely. Just because it's fucking brutal, man. And actually, I'll get into it a bit later on, actually.
sick, eh?
Really? You'll get into it later on.
Oh,
It's part of our topic breakdown,
Yes,
which
it is.
is this week.
Oh, that's a good segue.
Straight out the gates.
straight out the gates. What are you doing?
That's a Ryanism.
Yeah, definitely is. I say that a lot. Straight out the gates.
Yeah, that's definitely a Ryanism.
Do you know, I listened to our first episode a couple of days ago.
Did you vomit with disgust?
Do you agree we've come a long way?
Absolutely, we've come along. I actually giggled. I'm like, fuck, these guys are shit. And I was like, oh, no, that's us. But yeah, straight out the gates is one of the first things that I say on the first episode of Send It Mate.
You do.
Yeah, there's a little bit of trivia, a bit of pub trivia for those who are writing the questions at the moment. What is the first line of Send It Mate that Ryan says?
Go back and listen if you want and see our progression and have a giggle, as Ryan did at where we've come from.
Oh, what we were saying, what we're getting across was still good listening. I think we're a little bit more polished. Polished is definitely not the right
We've
word.
gone from a
polished
single mic and shouting over each other to having our own microphones.
Not even that. Wasn't the first episode recorded on Caleb's phone?
Nah.
We had that
A little
microphone.
road mic.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd all huddle around the fucking coffee table. A lot of plebs.
Yeah. It's great. Now I can sit 1.5 and be safe.
Yeah, from COVID.
Things flow a bit easier these days.
Back then, COVID didn't exist. Well, I'm sure it did. It started.
No, it definitely did because we've only been going for a year.
Yeah.
COVID's been for 2.
True. There you go.
We are the product of COVID.
Well, I wouldn't
We're like
go
a
that
COVID
far.
baby. The podcast is like a COVID baby.
It is. It is. Maybe this is a secret to the
It's the secret. What's the secret to your success?
vaccine.
Shout out to everyone who's had a COVID baby or is currently pregnant.
I wonder how many kids get called COVID this year.
Actually, I was reading something
on,
about kids in school wearing masks in the States and how it's like going to fuck them up and shit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like as a kid, one of the biggest things that you learn pretty quickly to do is to read emotions by looking at someone's face.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a critical part of learning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And socializing.
Yeah, man. And you imagine if you're growing up in that phase of your life where you're learning that and you can't see the mouth or the nose or the cheeks. You know, a lot of these things give it away. One thing I have noticed is, personally as an adult, I'm starting to register eyes a bit more. Like when someone's smiling, you get the crow's feet in the eyes and you're like, okay, they're smiling. Oh, chances are they're smiling. It's still a 50-50, but you're like, yeah, all right. You know,
That's a fair point, actually. Like the generation under us are way more, and I could say this, socially retarded.
Yeah.
And I mean retarded in the terms of like they are
have no social
retarded in
development.
their development socially.
so this is the correct use
The
of that
correct
word.
use of
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And that's probably because they just don't get out and have face-to-face social contact to be able to develop the skills.
a lot of them are like that anyway because they're always on their devices or staring at a phone, or if a social situation gets awkward at a dinner table, they just grab my phone and look at that rather than try and get the conversation flowing. So by default, before COVID, they're already a bit socially retarded, and now they can't even see people's facial expressions and
Like
stuff.
cues, yeah. Yeah.
That's very true.
It definitely started with them Game Boy PlayStation consoles. Yeah, and then sort of like
Can tell how
went
much
into
I love the Game Boy.
like tablets and phones and now
Pokemon
masks.
Gold,
It'd
baby.
actually be quite struggling for a child now, and they probably would take a lot more solace in computer games and things.
But they got nothing to compare it to. Like that's just life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
used to it.
Well, they have nothing to compare it to now, but in the future, hopefully, masks won't be mandatory or fucking.
Once they get their percentage mandate of vaccinations, they're saying that they're going to relinquish all COVID restrictions. But
and open borders up, yeah. And I believe that's like an economic thing, actually. I reckon the powers to be realise that Sydney and Melbourne,
they're fucked.
yeah, they need.
Crippling the economy.
Absolutely. And add to that, the government's handing out a shit ton of money to people for like the COVID payments. Where is that coming from?
Debt.
Absolutely, it's coming from debt. So we've got an economy that's being slowed down and country debt that's being put up. But there's got to be some give somewhere, people.
Open it up.
Look, anyway, we're not going to bang on about this too much, I don't think.
We always have a COVID digression.
We do. Yeah.
It's because it likes consuming us.
I'm sick of talking about it.
Me too.
Do you know
Well,
what?
speaking of
Let's talk about it
consuming,
straight out the gates.
speaking of consuming, that is related to my interpretation of straight out the gates.
Hello.
Yeah, how's that for a segue?
Hey,
Smooth.
Thank you very much.
he's a smooth operator.
Smooth operator.
Oh my god! Now I'm doing it.
You open the gate. You fucking open the gate, Ben, for him.
Someone put me down.
Yeah, buddy.
Put you down.
You feel so much
Humanely or with a semi-auto?
better. You let it out, bro.
Prefer it semi, mate. Jeez, be humane.
Just
I
go.
prefer to be fully erect, actually.
If I was going to be put down, I would want to go down big. Like drop a fucking, just shoot a cannon at me.
drop a 5,000 pound behind you.
Yeah, do it. Go big or go home.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't feel it.
I don't want to be that guy that like trips on the curb and then accidentally shoots himself in the head with a 22. Like that's just a very. It's like I fumbled and now I'm dead. So, imagine explaining that to God when you get to hell. How did you go? Well, or then there's people that actually trip on the curbside, break their neck and die.
Yeah, or trip over onto oncoming traffic. I've almost did that when I was a kid.
I trust you to have done that. No, there is a statistic that exists of people who have tripped or like fell off of the curb, like the 150 mil drop of a curbside, broken their neck and died from that.
We should ban all curbs immediately.
Yeah.
How do we go from zero to morbid as fuck?
I don't know. I just find it very
Let's
interesting.
get in the gate.
Anyway,
and then get out the gate.
straight out the gates, consumption. So when we go on a hunting trip, what is the first thing we do straight out the gates as soon as we get there?
Drink a beer.
As soon as we get there,
As soon as we get there.
Drink a beer.
We drink a beer.
we set up camp.
We crack one.
Yeah, we crack on.
A fat.
I've got
Before we set up camp.
countless photos because every time we go, I'll take a photo of the group and we've all got a drink in our hand. As soon as we roll through the gates, straight out the gates.
Sometimes it's like as soon as you're in the gate, then the beer comes out.
I mean, private property, definitely. We're always cracking a beer as soon as we enter
this,
a gate.
This is not like normally we won't go out on a hunt on like just as soon as we've arrived. So we'll when we're setting up camp and stuff, we'll crack one or have one in our hand, and everyone
A drink.
Yeah, not fat. I don't know about you guys, but I walk around with an erection. I just really love
When I
hunting.
arrive at deer camp, I always crack one.
I carry a sachet of lube in my pocket at all times, just in case.
Do you ever get a fat in your sleeping bag at night?
Fucking oath. My sleeping mat and my sleeping bag have very little friction. So I like
It's a smooth operation.
yeah, buddy.
You saying you hump your sleeping mat?
Fucking no, I hump my mat
Do you dig a hole?
Through his sleeping bag.
through my sleeping
Do you
bag.
dig a hole in the ground next to your sleeping mat?
No, my dick does it for me.
I'm cool.
And then
Is it a wide mouth, Joel?
and then all
call
of
you
the
the
ants
mole.
discover their new home.
I'm going to call you the mole. You just like tunneling.
Imagine if you got a
tunneling
leech
it.
on your fucking knob. Oh, bro, the way you scar, Caleb, you'd look like you'd have herpes for the rest
Size
of
of
your life
my
on your
dick. You
dick.
fucking drink so much blood so quickly.
Settle down. It's about the size of your dick.
Either that or like all the blood from the rest of your body would go down to your dick to compensate. You'd just be like this super skinny, shriveled dude with a massive schlong.
Yeah, well. You see my legs? I need a third leg to support.
My mind's gone fucking
Are you picturing it now?
places.
Picturing my dick.
I'm picturing a leech as a dick.
What? It's like before it started sucking blood though, so it's like super skinny, and it's like does the old like trying to find the next blood source.
This is what the fuck have
We have
Yeah.
childish minds.
We
gone
do,
down a rabbit
but
hole. Anyway,
enjoy.
let's cut
Meanwhile-
this digression off.
Let's get out the
So-
gate again.
I just want to talk about alcohol consumption and guns.
Fuck. You've sobered us up instantly.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Alright.
that's
Mr. Officer, what are we talking about?
Well, it's just particularly that. Let's start off with your opinions of what you think is an appropriate amount of alcohol, whether it should be any or not.
Oh, geez. This is a fucking slippery slope. So definitely you should not operate a firearm under the influence, whether that's under the legal limit or absolutely zero alcohol. Or I think, yeah, wow.
Look, I think that you can't. It's one of those real touchy things. One, you've got to look at if a person is consumed by consumption.
As
And
in an alcoholic.
yeah, so if someone can't stop,
Know yourself and your mates.
so you know on your own limits a little bit. So I believe that yes, you can have a beer or two, and go out and go for an evening hunt, have a beer or two with lunch, go out for an evening hunt. That's fine. I think it comes down to a personal level where okay, if you're a one shot Cadbury, no fucking beer for you. But
I mean, if you're having a couple of beers at camp and then you go out, you're definitely going to be under 0.05.
yeah, and that's what I mean. Like certainly being under 0.05, but you can't really put a number on it because, I mean, what if that person can't handle it at all? I don't think it's a good mix.
The safest thing to do is no alcohol. And
Yeah,
no guns.
definitely
But
the safest
Let's be
thing.
honest, it never 100% happens where
Oh no,
you're sitting around a campfire, you're at deer camp, you have a beverage around a fire, celebrate the hunt, and then you head back out.
I've taken a hip flask out with me on Crown Land at the end of the night of a hunt. I'm in my sleeping bag by the fire. I have a nip and go to sleep just to help us go to sleep or whatever.
You're
Bit
not
of a
operating a
nightcap.
firearm then, are you?
No, that's a way. But I've also been out, spotlighting with cockies. For those who don't know what a cocky is, it's a farmer, essentially. And they're blind, fucking rotten, drunk driving and spotlighting.
Yeah, I've been.
And I think a lot of Australians can relate because that is a big stigma of hunting, or how a lot of people hunt actually in rural areas.
I think that's got something to do with rural culture, though. Typically there's a stereotype of rural people being super heavy drinkers, and it's like that whole country cowboy, like Aussie hard yakker is. If you drink, you drink. Like we drink a lot. We're not shy. We don't shy away from that at all. But we try to be responsible as much as we can with what we're doing.
Yeah, and we don't fuck around when it comes to firearms and drinking because there's an understanding that if you fuck it up, you can kill someone. So
Yeah.
just the same as drinking
lose
and
your
driving.
license.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So-
And this is where it comes down to a personal thing, man. Like, I think, look, you know, if you're able to handle a drink or two with lunch before you go out for an evening hunt, then, okay, that's fine. Should you be drunk? No.
Definitely not.
Should you be under the legal limit? Yes.
So what would you say is drunk though? At what point?
Well, inebriated.
Yeah.
To the
Where
point
do you
where-
draw the line though? Is there anywhere that you would say, okay, well that's probably not a good idea?
Comes down to a personal thing once again, man. Like, you know, if you know that 2 drinks and you can't make sound decisions, or you can't, you're not coordinated, probably put the fucking gun down.
Would you
fucking
ever?
numpty.
Would you ever cut anyone off and be like, "That we're not going"?
Yeah, man.
100%.
And I have cut people off. Fucking oath.
Yeah, that's why
Fucking oath.
you got to know yourself firstly, and then you got to know your mates as well.
Like hunting with my close mates, like both of you and Richie and all that. Look, nah, because they're not stupid. You're not stupid. You're not going to be fucking paralytic to the point where you're not going to put yourself in that. Yeah, you're wary about it, but you don't. You know, I know you, both of you. You're not going to do it. So if you were to crack a beer with your lunch, I wouldn't even think twice. But if there was a new person there, I'd be like, "Whoa, buddy, let's just fucking take it down a notch." It's almost the same principle as riding around with around in the chamber unsafe. Most people don't like it. There are people that do it. Is it safe? Yes. Is it recommended? No.
Yeah, it's safe, but it's not the safest way to do things.
Well, it's not.
the
Yeah.
safest.
A gun can't go off if there's nothing chambered.
Yeah,
You know, can it?
So you guys familiar with legislation and the Firearms Act around this?
Ooh, I would love to think I am, but no.
Well, given that you're holding a fucking wad of paper, I'm going to say you have the Firearms Act in front of you.
I do have a copy of the Firearms Act.
Oh shit, we're about to know if we've been
Yeah. Well, officially there is no legal limit.
sick. Let's
You
get
can-
plastered.
But there's no set like 0.05 or anything like that. So in 2015, the gun control group in Tasmania tried to get a amendment put through to make it 0.05, but the shooters organisations shot it down. See that pun? Did you pick up on that?
All right, I'll pay that one.
Yeah, so it's been tried to be put past before, but it didn't get any footing on the basis that pretty much the argument was that shooters are pretty well self-regulated, which to me doesn't really sound like the
I've
best.
seen some outstanding lawyering
Yeah,
that
That's-
does.
I mean, yes,
Yeah.
but there's not really many instances of people getting blind drunk and shooting.
There's
someone
none.
in a hunting scenario.
there's none. Well, there was none in Tasmania at the time. So this is 2015. So there was no examples that could be brought forward to justify the amendment, and that was a pretty big contributor to why it didn't get through. So the current legislation and the Firearms Act says a person is not excluded from the application of this act under subsection 2 if the person handles a firearm while so much under the influence of intoxicating liquor or a drug as to be incapable of exercising effective control of the firearm. So you can be drunk, you can be drinking, or you can be taking drugs as long as you're capable of and can show that you're capable of effectively controlling the firearm.
Yeah, I draw the line
so
with drugs.
controlling a vehicle, they've set the line at 0.05.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. There are some people at 0.05 that are fucked, and there's some people at 0.05 you wouldn't even know they'd had a drink.
Man, I know dudes that would blow 0.1 and would be fine.
Exactly.
So it's, again, like you guys said, it comes down to knowing yourself. And the safest thing is to just not have any drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, look, I definitely agree with zero drugs. That's just fucking stupid. But alcohol, I've had some fucking outstanding memories growing up when I was young and not an adult with my father having a beer around the fire. Yes, okay, it was at the end of the day.
Why are you now promoting underage drinking?
No, I'm not doing that.
What's
I'm just
next?
saying, back then it was certainly a lot more tolerated when I was a kid. underage drinking was just sort of like, it's okay.
I think it still is, man. I mean, underage drinking, like, fuck, kids.
Yeah, but we didn't take it fucking as far as the kids do these days.
Oh,
Fuck.
yeah, it's fucking stupid.
You know?
Like, if you're 15 and it's like you're with your dad, you share a beer, like,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's a good moment. that
When
you're
we
gonna
were out
remember.
hunting, that was a good moment. It was like almost a step into or an initiation into manhood or something, like a real Aussie way of doing it, because you don't actually have to do anything fucking arduous. You just think piss.
Do you remember the first time you got drunk?
Yeah, man, I do actually. It was in my parents' caravan. So I got 3 older sisters, and it's pretty bad. I have 3 older sisters, and one would buy me alcohol from like 13 years and older. And although I never got drunk, I had a beer or whatever here and there. But when I was 15, she actually bought me some American wild turkey. Sorry, wild turkey. Yeah. The American honey's standing right in front of us. Anyway, I had a mate back then, and he brought another mate over, and we ended up getting like trashed in the caravan, hiding it. And then my parents were like, and my parents are like straighty 180 Christian, man. And they were like, yeah, as long as you do it under our roof, who gives a shit?
Really?
I'm like, what? So I can drink piss.
You're in the caravan, so
Dude.
you're not really under their roof. But okay.
Well, you, Caleb, when's the first time you got drunk? You remember
Oh,
that?
jeez. It took me a long time, actually, because I'd had a few cheeky ones with Josh when I was under 18, but I never got trashed until, I'd say first year uni on a pub crawl.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were a late bloomer.
Yeah, so I was a late bloomer. But I'd have a few beers and I'm like, I don't feel anything. Like, I don't feel drunk.
You still do that because you just don't drink enough.
No, I have a high metabolism. I have a high tolerance for alcohol.
So drink more.
So, yeah, the first time I got drunk was, on a pub crawl at uni. And I was like, I don't really think I've ever been drunk. And then my mate Carl, I think it was at the time, was just like, we'll change that tonight.
Did he?
Well, he did,
Did you get drunk?
We had pre-drinks at his house, and I think I was the first one there, so I got started, and then, I was well on my way.
Yeah.
And that I remember that first time you ever get drunk and you're like, my face feels numb. What the hell is this?
Yes.
Like, I obviously don't have that
That's
now.
not drinking, bro.
But the first time you get drunk, you have like the numb face.
That's
The first time I got drunk, I got the numb face, and then I realised I actually realised what was going on, and when I'd move my head, it felt like my eyeballs were slightly
lagging.
behind my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, lagging.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So my first time getting drunk. There's a couple of stories. I think I might go into a couple of them here.
I can think of a good one.
Yeah. I might actually tell that one. Yeah. So the very first time that I got drunk was my parents were very Christian as well. I come from the old Christian home, and wasn't very much alcohol that I was aware of at this point in the house. But I found a goon sack. I was home by myself. I think it was like a Sunday night or something. Everyone else was out. I was home by myself. Found a goon sack.
Probably at church.
No, yeah.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's actually another story I'll tell after this one. So I'd hired Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is nice. I'll keep drinking. By halfway through, I felt fucking amazing. Couldn't feel my face. My eyes. I was fucked up.
Just having a full-on nerd.
I reckon I drank a good half, maybe even 2/3 of a goon sack, and I was fucked. And I don't remember finishing the movie at all. Like, just
You're not missing out on much.
But in that same year though, I was like, me and Caleb played in the church band, and what I would do, this is like probably the gateway into me flying off the rails as a kid. What I used to do is my girlfriend would come around, and because she wasn't a church goer, so I'd go to church in the morning, I'd play the drums or guitar, and then I'd come home for a bit, and then go in the afternoon and play at night time, drums and guitar. And my girlfriend would come around in the Sunday afternoon because no one else would be home, it'd just be me because everyone would be out socialising with the church and whatnot. We used to I found my mum's liquor stash, which was like well hidden away. And we used to have exchange students at the time. So there was like French cognac from France. It was some ridiculous amount of dollar value to this thing.
Good old Juliet bought the gifts.
She was hot, man. She was smoking. The only French lady I've ever really found attractive. But there's one weekend, so my girlfriend came around. We were doing shots of French cognac. We drank the whole bottle, and then I put it back and had some.
Why would you put an empty bottle back? But
I don't know, man. I was like just drinking and couldn't be fucked, to be honest.
Rookie error.
So we were getting cognac and mixing it with ice cream and doing shots. And we drank the whole bottle of that and had some other stuff. I was well on my way. And then I had to go play at church in the afternoon. So I've gone to church in the afternoon.
I'm on drums. He's on guitar.
Yeah. And I'm fucked. I'm fucked. I can barely stand. I'm like, and then I'm trying to keep all my shit together. And then it was quite obvious. People were starting to cotton on. And I'm like yelling at Kayla, like, hey man, hey, I think I'm fucked. Like this is in front of everyone up on stage. And needless to say, I didn't get rostered at all after that.
Ever.
That was my last stint.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could see the church doing that.
Yeah. No, they're they're cunts like that.
Whoa.
Although those who know me know that I'm not a fan of the establishment.
Yeah, look, it's back then. Church was certainly different.
Church is the same. It depends on what church you go to as well and who's leading it and who's involved. But
that's true. But like, what do you expect a young teenage boy not to mess up? Oh God!
I would have at least filled the bottle with something else.
Yeah, like water.
Mate, I was past actually giving. I'm pretty sure 6 months later I stole the family car and didn't.
Well, that escalated.
Yeah. Done some shit, man.
You know what
around
they
this
say.
time that Ryan went off the rails.
Yeah, it was.
Ryan knew he fucked up.
Rebelled.
Ryan flipped his mum the bird as he rolled out and screeched the tires.
That's funny, man, because I took my mum's car for a joyride once, and it's not really that out of the ordinary. I didn't steal it and drive it on public roads. I just drove it up and down the driveway like a whole bunch of times.
Fucking rebel.
And doing donuts right out the front. But and then after that, the only thing actually that came from that is my mum was like, oh, is someone taking my car for a drive? I'm like, no, I don't know. She's like, oh, it was full. I didn't even think.
Parked it in the driveway and now it's on the street.
No, well, it was full with fuel. So I didn't even think about that. I was like, fuck. And I was hooking around for a while. So it would have probably gone through a quarter of a tank. But
What the fuck?
back then, like your parents
How do you
like,
go through a quarter of a tank up and down the driveway?
Yeah, that's a lot of forwards and backwards, man.
no,
Especially your parents' driveway,
donuts.
which is like.
out in the hills, like and that chicane, like the driveway was like
yeah.
500 metres long.
There's a fair bit of land. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
So, yeah, just hooking up down there. And I actually almost lost it at one stage too. Thank God I didn't. And then that actually freaked me out because I sort of spun out and I regained control. And I was like, no, that's enough for me today.
Wow. Well,
Did you get, chased by the police stealing? Like, did they report it stolen?
I don't think so. No, because I stole it and then I disappeared for a couple of days. Where did I go? I don't know. That was like around the time where I was doing some illicit things and
Male prostitution.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got to learn how to suck a dick pretty quick when
Yeah, you got to turn a trick.
yeah.
I do remember that. But see, I saw it.
Sucking dick.
No.
Sucking dick, turning tricks. Yeah,
I,
bro.
I remember him going off the rails because
Gagging necks, cashing
like
checks.
I was listening to the other side of the conversation of his family while he was out fucking missing.
Oh,
really?
yeah, because this is when Caleb was with, dating my sister.
Yeah.
Ah.
So I'm like at his house listening to his mum and dad and sister carry on about
Did they call him a
fucking
cunt?
rebellious Ryan.
Rebellious.
Just trying to express myself, man.
Oh, God.
They were not happy.
I could imagine, actually. Very much so.
Hey, fuck, I had a pretty good time.
That's the main thing.
Cool.
Yeah, good times. Anyway,
Drink responsibly.
drink responsibly. Yeah, anyway, if you're using a firearm, no alcohol, know your limits, don't be a dick.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you could kill someone, so be sensible.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Same way with a car, but even more so, really.
Yeah, and people don't understand that even if it's an accident, you will go to jail for manslaughter. There's no grey area there.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Sobering.
It is. Meanwhile, we're half a bottle of turkey in and almost half a bottle of pain.
Non-noir. Thank you.
I think we're fucking a little bit sophisticated now. I think we're drinking the wire.
And the honey. The honey's nice, actually.
Oh, fuck, man. It's been so long. It's my favourite, and I have not partaken for so long.
Partaken.
And now I remember
in
why.
Church communion. Oh, God.
Dude, if that was in communion, bloody hell.
Yeah, I'll be going to
Sign
church.
me up. I go to church every week. Fuck.
Oh, good
Could
God.
you imagine? Communion, by the way, communion was never actual wine. It was fucking grape juice. It was shithouse.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. No, Catholics had wine. Yeah, but Pentecostals, they
Grape
have
juice.
grape juice because they're tight asses.
Yeah,
No, because alcohol, bad.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
that's right.
Yeah.
Alcohol bad.
I actually still remember going out to dinner, and you were there, Caleb, with our pastor, and you and I ordered a beer, and we checked each other going, is this right? Should we have a beer in front of our pastor? And then we were like, nah, screw it, let's have a beer.
Of course. Like, you're not going to have the world's best steak
Yeah.
and not have a beer with
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Dude, every time I went out with the youth group, I'd feel obligated to get drunk. Just because
To teach the kids what not
just
to
to
do.
teach the kids what not to do. Like, hey kids, Uncle Ryan's drunk again.
Look how far you've come.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Very
All right.
interesting. There you go. I actually vaguely thought there was a limit, but
There's no legal
okay.
limit. It's just whether you can. But I mean, if a copper comes into your camp and sees beers, he can dictate what that is. So he can just say, "You've been drinking. You can't operate this firearm." And
let's be honest, if you're leaving it to a police officer's discretion, fuck, that's
You are
just,
fucked.
Yeah. That's wide open. So
as soon as you get to that point, I mean, a police officer can dictate what is and what is not a firearm as well. So the actual firearm part of it is the chamber. What's that? What's that bit called?
Well, I thought by
Braveheart.
law it was actually anything that was propelled with a gas.
bloody hell, I hope I never get strip searched because someone's going to identify a weapon pretty soon.
You're asshole. What are we talking about here? I'm pretty sure the definition of a firearm is anything that propels a projectile with gas. Possibly.
A firearm, according to the Act,
Look
is
at him.
a device designed to fire bullets, shoot or what? A device designed to fire bullets, shoot or other projectiles by means of burning propellant or by means of compressed air or other compressed gas, or a device of a kind declared by the regulations to be a firearm.
Oh, there you go.
Jeez, that's a fucking...
The receiver, that's what I'm trying to think of, and includes a receiver of a firearm and any device or devices which, whether or not rendered temporarily or permanently unused, would, if in working order or if assembled and in working order, be a firearm within the meaning of the definition, but does not include an antique firearm or
What a nail gun then.
a device of a kind declared by the regulations not
license.
to be a firearm.
What?
You need a license for a nail gun,
No, you don't.
don't you? I thought you did for the Pazos.
No
Yep.
way.
No, you don't need a license for it, but it has probably been deemed not a firearm.
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't need a license for a Pazo?
100%. You can go right into Bunnings and buy one. One. You don't need a license. Because,
Really?
I mean, it's also contact. It's not a projectile.
What about the ones that are
True, you actually have to press it
triggered
against something
with-
to fire it.
What about the ones that are triggered with like the shortened 22 case?
Oh, yeah. Like the Ramset guns.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's still, you have to have that, the gun pushed against the material,
Yeah.
so it's not a projectile.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just shoots it in.
Ah. Sure, you could bypass that, but
Oh, yeah.
Of course you could.
I mean, anyone who's been on site with a chippy would know that if you pull the front of the gun forward and pull the trigger, you can shoot people with it.
That's terrible.
That's just that's what do they call it? Human nature. Nah, when you got the apprentice on site and he's over on the other side and he's fuck assing around and you just loose a couple nails his way.
Nail in the thigh. Actually,
no, we don't.
That's something about like it's deemed as a weapon, not a firearm. When I was a kid, I had a slingshot, and there's like mad grey area because they are illegal, but if they have an arm brace, so if it doesn't have an arm brace, it's not illegal, and you can market it as a bait caster.
Well, that makes sense because an arm brace means that you can have a longer draw on it, which means you're increasing the velocity and you have better aim as well.
Yeah, but I just thought that was weird. I'm like, really? Who the fuck makes a...
So
when I was a kid,
so
I used to
arbitrary. It's
make
ridiculous.
them out of like Y-shaped branches. Like I'd
I'm
cut them
pretty
off.
sure we all did.
I was there.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, what are you doing? Use hardened wire.
Yeah.
And do it this way. It'll come a lot better.
Yeah, that's true. Did your dad teach you how to make crossbows?
He taught me how to make like bows out of bamboo and everything.
Yeah,
man.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And I shot a rat, actually. I still remember this to this day. I shot a rat with a homemade bow out of bamboo. Yeah.
Bear Grylls ain't got shit on you.
Never thought it would work. And it did. Yeah. I mean, you'd come up. I used to make rock guns. Do you remember you get like a bit of tube, like a plastic tube, and you cut the finger off one of those gloves?
Yeah,
like
the
a
old
glove gun.
dish gloves.
Yeah, and then you tape it on. You'd put a rock down and you'd be like, knock shit. Yeah.
And then you take it at school and some stupid kid would shoot it at a teacher and then they'd take it away from you.
And then you just go home and make another one.
Yeah.
Sounds like Ryan just has a history of getting caught.
To be honest, I've never put a great deal. I'd make a terrible criminal. I don't put very much thought into not being caught and devising plans for that because at the time I was just like, rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
I mean, keeping in mind that I was also playing in rock and metal bands at the time and like just did not give a fuck.
Yeah. You certainly, actually, this is probably a good segue. You certainly feel larger than what you actually are.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lord knows you must feel larger than what you actually are.
Well, I'm going to jump straight in.
If I could sum up your life.
I'm going to jump straight in, actually.
Shout out to Chris Heenan, by the way, who gave you shit on Instagram this week for being tiny.
I hope he listens to this, actually. I'll miss
Of course
Chris.
he does.
I fucking hope he listens to this.
Good lad.
I'll miss the boy, actually. Anyway, I'm going to jump straight in. So, obviously, I was in the army, and one thing caught my attention straight out the gates from our title was when I first enlisted. So once you've finished the enlistment process and you pass and, you get to go to Kapuka, you go to Kapuka. And I still remember for me, I rocked up at around 6 o'clock at night. I can't remember exactly when. But you get off the bus and before you it's real quiet and real morose on the bus because everyone's so nervous. You don't know what to expect. Anyway, you get off the bus and straight away you're putting into a formation and you've got all your gear in front of you and then multiple people come in front of you and tell you the do's and don'ts and this and that and you pretty much your rights that you have there and the rights that you don't have there. And then some dude comes in and fucking turns around and says, you're fucking mine for the next fucking 13 weeks, cunts. And you're like, Mind you, most of these people are 18 years old. I mean, the age group sort of varies between 18 to sort of 32 typically. Sometimes you get some older lads in there as well, or women. So you're all really, really nervous. And we've all seen, movies of Hollywood boot camp and this and that. And it is like that. You just do not know what to expect. You are nervous as fuck. Your palms are sweaty. You don't know where to look. You don't know how to stand.
Arms are heavy.
There's vomit on his sweater already.
Some of the mom spaghetti.
Yeah, so he just you just don't know. Oh, I've forgotten what I was saying. You don't really know what to do. You don't know where to look. And you don't know if you're allowed to talk or if you're not allowed to talk. You don't know if you're allowed to grab something or not. And then all of a sudden, this big burly fucking instructor is sitting there just like hounding you and saying, you're fucking going to die, pretty much. Just like, he's like, you're fucked.
Do they do that, like that whole over the top, like, you motherfuckers are mine now?
Look, now, no. But back when I joined, yeah, there was certainly, and it's not quite the way you think. So in America, yes, they certainly stand over you a bit more and yell. But this is like here in Australia, it's kind of a little bit of yelling mixed with real passive aggressive sort of fucking, just belittling. And like they'll walk past you and they'll be like, they'll pick on you. Like, you're fucking so short, cunt. You think you're going to fucking make it here? And you're like,
It's actually pretty weird to see that shit in this day and age. Like, because everyone's such a fucking pansy these days. Like,
isn't that why they changed it though? They don't do that anymore.
Before I left, a couple of years before I left, they started introducing like a red card. So if you started to feel threatened or scared or whatever, you could pull out a card, and it pretty much had to. The instructor had to stop and then take you into the platoon sergeant. Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah, this is at Kapuka, mind you, and I'll go through the rest of it in a second. But it's certainly been pussified.
What the fuck?
Really badly.
Because the Taliban's going to stop if you pull out a red card. Jesus
Yeah, man.
fucking
And
Christ.
let's face it, like you're fighting a uniformed enemy, that's going to be even worse. So, yeah.
I mean, Kapuka is designed to weed out people who can't cope, though.
Sort of. Not anymore, really, no.
I think the word you're
No.
looking for is the key word there.
Yeah. Not
Jesus Christ, we are fucked. If we go to war in like the next 10 years, we are so fucked.
Look,
If that's the caliber of soldiers that they're breeding now, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ.
I'll get into a bit of a progression and the evolution in a second of this. But at Kapuka, it was definitely an eye-opener. Like back then, you were scared, you didn't know what to do. And this sort of evolved or snowballed into training. And then suddenly you're at PT and you're just getting smashed and you're getting beasted. Now, the way they break you better is by giving you unrealistic expectations in unrealistic timeframes that you have to meet. And when you don't meet them, they just simply keep doing it until you meet it, but you can't meet it. So you're just like, well, fuck. And so you've just basically got to sit it out until the time allocated for this activity is finished, and then you move on to the next activity.
So is that designed to create perseverance, essentially?
Well, it's designed to break you,
Break
man.
you down.
Absolutely break you.
So, I quite like that SAS Australia show, and season 2's just started where they get all the celebrities on and they put them through like a Mickey Mouse SAS course. So the first episode, which is the only one I've watched so far, is called Ego, where they try to just strip these celebrities of their ego because they're so used to being,
Pumped up, yeah.
pumped up. So the first episode, they blindfold them all, they walk them all in, they get them to all put on overalls, and then the first thing they have to do is get tear gassed.
Yeah.
So they put them in a room, take the mask off, and then they ask them some simple questions whilst the tear gas is going. And some of them are fucked.
Yeah, man.
Like they take one breath and they're just
They're
like
gone. Yeah.
like gone. They can't.
And
Can't breathe.
I've always
tear
wanted to
gas
be
is not
tear
fun.
gassed.
Then they got to run up a hill, and then they got to just stand there, like don't fucking touch your face. And the guy's in their face from the get go. He reminds me of you actually, because he's just like this short dude with a fucking Dorito chip looking frame.
Yeah, boy.
Anyway, and then like it progresses from there. The next thing they have to do is like go back to their base, learn about where they're going to be staying, and then they have to fucking strip naked in front of each other.
Yeah, man. That's all demeaning.
Yeah, it's all demeaning, and it's all designed to lose their egos.
Yeah, man.
And then the next thing they have to do is exit a helicopter, and they've strapped a ladder between the two like landing gear of the helicopter, and they have to get out like monkey bars across to the other side, lift themselves back up and get back in the helicopter above water. and follow the instructions of going through every rung. And if some chick was like skipping a rung and she did it easily, and he's like, go back, touch every rung. And she skipped a rung again, and then he fucked her off and dropped her in the water. And then some chick was like, yeah, I did it. And he's like, nah, fuck you, get off.
Yeah.
She's like, ego. She's like,
yeah, man.
Like waving to everyone, like just trying to break him down.
And that breeds this thing that the military is looking for, and that is essentially helping one another. So you'll know better than the next person. And as a male, you're really what's the fucking word? Competitive. But in the army, they don't want you to do that because you're only as fast as your weakest link, right?
Yeah.
So if someone's struggling or someone doesn't do something that's doctrine, well, you're not getting any. You're not progressing. So you have to stop. You have to get them through it, even if they can't, and then you can progress.
Yeah. Well, their fucking punishment for this chick celebrating the fact that she did it and like turning around and like, woo, I did it, to the rest of the group was they all went back to their base and they all had to like basically plank with their packs on.
Yeah, that's not
and
fun.
then stand up quickly.
Yeah, that's
you didn't stand up quickly. Get back down.
And then that'll go on and on and on and on and on, and like you can't meet it. They'll be like, oh, you got to plank for. They might not even give you a time. Actually, they might just be like plank position, and in their head they've got a time frame that they want you to meet, but that you don't meet it, and then you're obviously getting fatigued the more times you do it. So that time frame is even further away from being able to be reached. And then it just breaks you down. So essentially you're just waiting for that period of time frame that's been allocated for that activity to stop.
Yeah. Well, that broke the first person. She quit. She's out.
Yeah.
Gone.
And that's the thing. It will break motherfuckers, man. And then like mixed in with your yelling, getting yelled at, and you don't have any rights essentially. When I was they took your not that mobile phones were that big back then, but they took your mobile phones. You weren't allowed to go to the shops. You had no personal time, and the very little time that they had allocated for personal time, you would have to do things like fold your clothes to the centimetre in like the specific way to the centimetre, put them in your closet, and they had a position in the closet that they would measure with a fucking ruler. So every closet was identical. And then, and so you just end up spending the little time that you had doing that. And if you got that wrong, say in an inspection or something, well then they would allow this time that magically appeared out of nowhere to fuck you over and over. And over.
And if you've ever been camping with Josh, there's a lot of time for tidying campsites.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Everything in its place.
I don't like an untidy campsite, that's for sure.
No, it does actually feel better when you're tidy.
Yeah, and it's more organised. Now, what I wanted to say is this was only Kapuka, okay? So this is like, you finish Kapuka and you think you're swinging dick. You're like, fucking, what's that song? Is it ABBA? I can tell by the way I walk.
That's the Bee Gees.
Bee Gees, that's it. Like you're fucking floating, man.
Floating out of Kabuki with the Bee Gees playing.
Yeah. You're just like, fuck yeah, I'm sick. And anyway, as an infantry soldier, suddenly you've got to go do your IETs. So you finish Kapuka and then you do your initial employment training. I've spoken about this before. But you walk in and you think you're sort of like swinging dick. And then suddenly you get to Singo. And Singo, at this point, all the weeds for Kapuka have been fucking gotten rid of. And now their job is to fucking weed out the soft fuckers out of fucking the grunts, the ones that have passed through the little cracks. And so you get to Kapuka, and once again, it's not uniformed like it is in Kapuka. So everyone's, like all your instructors are wearing the same uniform.
Singo,
and so
Singo now.
In Singo, sorry. So
What's Singo? What was that?
Singleton. It's where it is. It's infantry IETs. So in Singo, the instructor's wearing this, smock and like his beret. So it's slightly different. And you're like, oh, this is this a bit more relaxed because we don't have to iron pleats in our fucking jeans? But it's not. And he's typically like the very first guy that you meet is this fucking grunt who's just disgruntled, and he's like, fuck you cunts think fucking Kapuka was bad? Oh, I'm going to fucking rip off your head and shit down your neck and skull fuck you. And you're like, ugh. So you're straight out of the gates. You've got this fucking dude just yelling at you for no reason. Like, it's not even an introduction. It's just, I'm going to fucking break you here because you've got to earn this fucking Skippy badge and this beret. And if you don't, you are fucking going home, and you go home with your fucking tail between your legs, you little pussy fucker.
You're just making me want to join the army.
Oh, dude. And once again, you're young. You know, like, you're like, you're barely out of puberty, man, most of you. And once again, your freedoms have been stripped, and you think you've got freedoms. It's like this weird transition because in Kapuka, you don't get to go to the shops or anything like that. In Singleton, they have like an Afghans, like a little shop you can go to, and you think your whole world is fucking. You think you're just like, I am fucking sick because I'm gonna go get a pack of durries and some chocolate. Shit, yeah. So you're just like, yeah, fuck. You're walking on sunshine, and you think you're free, but then a few weeks pass and you realise, nah. Hell has just begun.
Well, that's how it was. I can't imagine it being like that now.
Look, then the next progression actually is getting to your unit, and your unit is like neck level, especially these days because you've got battle-hardened soldiers at your unit, and you're suddenly at Singo once again. You get out of Singo and you get to your unit. You're walking on sunshine again, and you're like, "Fuck, I've earned my Skippy badge. Yeah, I'm fucking sick." And then you get to your unit and these fucking dudes are like, I will fucking stab you. Just for no reason. And you're like, oh. Once again, you're just like, you're put in your place again for the third time in your life. Just straight out the bat. When you think you've got this freedom or you've got freedoms and your life is your own again, you realise that there's this pecking order once again, and you're at the bottom of the barrel, and you've just slogged your guts out for fucking over half a year in training, and you've had no freedoms whatsoever. You might in Singo, you might get to go like, and often the boys used to do trips into what's it called? Shit, I'm gonna remember.
Town?
Yeah, it's fucking in Sydney, or it's in New South Wales or something. Newcastle, fuck. You go into Newcastle and you'd hit the clubs and shit like that, and then you'd come back fucking Sunday night right before fucking curfew, and you'd be plastered drunk still, and then you've got to get up and do bullshit PT the next day. That was the hardest thing in the world. But at the unit, like, yeah, once again, straight out the gates, you're just like a pleb, and you're like, well, my life is fucking back to being fucking square one. Ugh.
Mate.
There you go.
Maybe I think everyone needs to have a little bit of that in their life, though, just to keep people humble.
Yeah, maybe not on the same extent, and I don't think it's the same extent these days. I think that you're right. They've certainly have.
Fuck, if you can flash a red card when you feel, he's yelling at me, sir, I don't like it. Like, fuck off.
I mean, you've been out like a while now. It's probably fucking wokeified even more now.
Yeah. I had a mate who had a guy that just got to the unit, and my mate's an NCO, a non-commissioned officer, so he's a corporal. And he asked this dude to sweep the hangers before knock-off, and the guy cried. Yeah.
Cried.
Yeah. Cried. And my mate's like, he's had a few tours, and he's had a pretty rough, and he's like, yeah, what the fuck?
What, the dude, hang on. So
I believe he actually got out soon after. I believe that he was like, I don't know if I can handle the new recruits.
Well, the battle hardened, as you call them, guys are probably like, what the fuck is this new regime we're sitting under?
There are guys that would stay in, and they would certainly like just retrain fuckers until they came up to scratch. And there's a bit of pride as well. So the one thing that infantry has going for it is you do have to earn your beret and your badge. So you do certainly have this sort of like a pride about you that you have to uphold the most highest of physical standards. You have to be good at your job. Not everyone. There are some fucking dudes out there that are just fucking fucked.
Coast.
But most guys are sort of like certainly in that mind frame of, I've got to excel because of this, what I'm wearing on my head.
Yeah, well, that's pride in earning it and maintaining it. And
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more of that in just general society.
Definitely. Oh, we could use some patriotism in Australia, man. Fucking hell, could we ever?
By patriot, I mean just someone taking ownership and being proud of something and taking that and using it as the fuel to excel it and be good, like do the best you possibly can in something.
Learning something about
Commitment,
sacrifice, man.
and be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's fuck. I still can't believe that whole red card thing.
Yeah, bro, it's sick.
I really cannot.
It's fucked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pansy fucking city.
Yeah. But that's all right. Not taking away anything from the guys that have chosen to serve now and have made it, and but I certainly believe that is a little extreme when you're breeding soldiers.
I'd imagine that like the little fucking runts that have flashed the red card, I'd imagine that they wouldn't last through that whole process.
I think you'll find, they don't, man. And they certainly don't make it into combat corps, I dare say.
No, especially if it's someone like that with that sort of characteristic gets put in a unit with a battle hardened dude, the kid's either going to shit himself or just be absolutely fucking annihilated. Because you're not, especially someone like I'd imagine I would be. If someone like that came into my unit and you have to have your unit ready so that it's lives at stake and the guy's got your back. If you've not got that, you're going to either kick his ass until he becomes that, or kick his ass until he leaves.
And that's the thing. Unless you meet standards, and they're going to uphold those standards, and if they don't meet those standards, then they're going to have a pretty testing life for the next 3 years. And yes, I dare say that in the end they will be broken physically and spend their time in like a rehab or something like that, or they choose to move on. It's not for everyone. It is not. But at the same time, it could be for you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fucking broad as shit.
It is, but it's true. It's like
It's not for everyone, but it could be for you.
It could. Yeah. That's like a wicked line for recruitment. It's not for everyone. No, it's not for everyone, but it could be for you.
Well, man, I was a fucking runt of a child, and
I remember when you
made it work.
I remember when I saw you after you came out of training. You went in as a skinny little fuck and came out you were jacked.
Yeah, like I put time and effort into it, man, and that's the thing. I think I was doing it to prove to myself that I could do it in a way, but thinking that I couldn't do it, and went in and did it, and I think I surprised myself. And that's what I mean. Like by it's not for everyone, but it could be for you. Like you're not going to know until you're going through it.
Yeah,
if you can do it or not.
Absolutely.
But you've got to be willing to put yourself into that position to try it.
Not everyone has the mental fortitude either. Yeah. So once you actually manage to get fucking through it, then what you actually see during war, not everyone can cope with that either.
Mate.
So that's a whole other kettle of fish.
Yeah, then you're talking about serving overseas, and that brings a fucking whole bunch of new apples to the fucking platter of oranges.
Yeah, well put, sir.
Well done. Thank you. Does that mean we can move on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can do it.
Sick.
Wrong.
All right.
I feel like that was a natural segue.
Beautiful. Well, I'll go. So straight out the gates, as I was taking the bins out and using my gate, my actual physical gate on my house the other day, I had a look at the latch of the side gate and it said the brand, L-Gate. And I'm like, oh, that's bloody old mate's business. And I'm like, I've met him. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about the eccentric millionaire businessman, Lance Vader, who I had the pleasure of meeting through work.
And having cocktails with at fucking 10 o'clock in the morning. Work's so difficult.
I spent an afternoon with him many months ago. And for those who don't know who Lance Vader is, he is quite an eccentric businessman in Adelaide. He's well known because he's got some flashy cars and bit of a crazy dress sense, and he's a lovely guy, and I did have the pleasure of spending an afternoon with him, and my colleague took me to his house and I met him. And he's quite infamous as well. So there's some news stories where, well, he's got himself in the news by first, one of the more famous stories is he left his Rolls Royce Phantom Drophead, which is worth $1.2 million.
And the most fucking amazing fucking luxury car out there. Thank you very much, Rolls Royce.
Anyway, he left his with the top down on Jetty Road, and there was a thunderstorm.
Oh.
And it got like $100,000 worth of water damage. So people were filming the rain pouring into this Rolls Royce while he was a couple of 100 meters up the road at the shops.
Oh, my God.
Yep. So he's also been in the news. He's built this shipping container tower. He's like fighting the Burnside Council because people are complaining it's an eyesore. So he's built this, like, he's put 2 shipping containers end on end and a big cross on them.
Is that a Burnside?
Yeah.
That's a Burnside.
And he does tours, doesn't he?
He does tours. So he's got it's called Sky Gardens, which is his own personal garden as well. Like, he's a really nice guy, but he's quite eccentric, right?
Bro,
And-
the gardens from the photo look amazing, man. Like fucking...
Oh, it's quite nice, and as I said, I've been to his house. So let me take you on the journey to his house when I met the guy. Right, this is related to Straight Out the Gates. All right, so I've walked into his house, which was through a side door, and he's in Glenelg North in like a Mexican style. Not villa, it's a 3-story mansion, but
Like flat roofed.
no.
No pitched.
It's 3 stories, right?
Yeah.
Like pool house, fucking garages, long driveway. Anyway, I've rolled in through the like side gate through to his like he set up this weird sort of office thing because he likes to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and sit in his garage. Anyway, so the guy is a lovely guy. He's sort of like the Smithers to Mr. Burns.
Mm-hmm.
He's right hand man, basically, right? He's greeted us, and I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm in
His butler.
I'm out the side of this house. He's a lovely guy. Anyway,
/ personal
and my
assistant.
colleague who's met him and dealt with him a few times said, "Oh, here he comes." And I'm looking, and I'm like, "There's this old guy walking towards me. He's carrying a drink in each hand. He's wearing a smoking jacket, a trilby, which is he's sort
What's
of
a
like
smoking jacket?
it's just like a fancy fucking dinner jacket type.
Oh,
thing.
as in smoking, like descriptive word.
Used
Like-
for smoking in.
yeah.
Oh,
a
right.
jacket for
Yeah, it's
smoking.
like old school. You'd have your smoking
Yeah,
jacket.
like a
your dinner
fancy jacket, right?
Ah.
He's wearing a trilby, which is his signature hat he wears. Right? He's got no pants on.
Has he got
Like
underwear?
he's in his fucking jocks, right?
Why would you if you're a fucking...
And he's
man?
wearing Versace slides.
That is excellent.
And he's come over with both, like a drink in each hand and introduced himself. And I'm
What
like,
time is this?
this is just, we're talking 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
At least he waited till midday.
And this is the first time I've ever met the guy. And I'm like, wow, this is different. And then I've copped, like we've talked about what we needed to talk about business wise, and then he's given me his story about how he started, which was actually quite inspiring. And he's got this little folder that he has with photos, which has basically the whole history of how his business started and multiple businesses actually. So he's got his finger in a lot of pies. But then the afternoon sort of progressed, and we ended up by the pool, drinking vodka seltzers, which were tasty. Not my drink of choice, but tasty.
Was there a pool cleaner?
There was no pool cleaner.
name was Carlos.
There was. Oh, actually. So while we're talking in the carport, right, there was a guy blower vacuuming the whole fucking place, and he made his way up to us, and I'm like, how are we supposed to fucking talk while this guy's blower vacuuming? And he's like, told him, oh yeah, come down here. There's a bit here you need to do. I'm like, we can't fucking hear this guy's blower vacuuming. So I'm just like, this is the weirdest thing. This guy's so crazy, and he's trying to like unpack his like origin story to me, and I sort of didn't get it at start.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we moved to the pool and we're drinking these drinks and he unpacked it again, I'm like, I get it now, and I'm actually quite inspired. So straight out of the gates, this is where I'm going with this, is so this guy, Lance Vader, back when he was a young fella, he grew up in Saddleworth, right, on a farm with his with his family, and his dad never paid him any pocket money whatsoever. But if they had an agreement where if he could trap rabbits, then his dad would skin them and help him sell them. And he quickly realized, well, okay, well, I can make some money here. And then he worked out and invented for himself a trap so that he could maximize what he was making out of this. So he came up with this, like, I forget the actual design of it. He did show me on the day this like dam netting trap that he'd invented, and it could catch up to 2,000 rabbits a night.
Wow.
Now, if you read up about this guy, it says that he funded his next venture from 3 months of rabbit trapping. And when I was there, he told me that he got 3 pence per rabbit, which is, there's 100 pence in a pound. So back then, we're talking the 50s here, right? He's quite an old guy. So 2,000 a night is 6,000 pence, which is 600 pounds.
That's a lot of money back then.
60 pounds.
That's still a lot of money back
60
then.
pounds a night. So 5 nights a week, if you're getting 2,000 rabbits, you're making 300 pounds a week. As a teenager, that is an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
Right? So through ingenuity, he's come up with a way of maximizing some profits to then move on to his next venture. And I'm sitting there going, well, you're a self-made man. And I'm sitting in this fucking mansion going, wow, this is inspiring.
His dad would have been pissed.
And it started with rabbit trapping.
Yeah, his dad would be like, 2,000 fucking rabbits? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but back then there was a bounty. So
No, because he'd
pretty
have to
sure.
skin them though.
Yeah, that's a-
Rabbits were in plague proportions back then. Like,
insane.
yeah, like crazy amounts. So he was able to get 2,000 a night, up to 2,000 a night. So maybe he got 200 to 300 pounds a week.
So yeah,
Right, did that for 3 months, and that funded his next venture, which on his 17th birthday, he opened a 30-foot by 30-foot workshop. And it doesn't, if you read up on it, it doesn't sort of elaborate about what this workshop was for. But when I was talking to him, he said, look, what I did was I invited anyone in the local area, if they needed anything engineered and manufactured, let me know, and in this workshop, we'll make it happen for you. And that's what he did. So it became like an engineering and inventing and manufacturing little workshop that he'd funded himself from rabbit trapping. And so that was basically the origin story of all his businesses that he's had ever since then. So the progression from there is offering engineering services to the rural area, to then getting involved in the rural construction industry, which then led into building major wineries. He made a connection there. And some of the major wineries built in the north of our state were with his services, and then basically industrial sheds. And where he got his speciality was noticing that, so you've got these massive industrial sheds. Most of them have got a big ass sliding door. And what he noticed at the time was there was a very poor like maintenance and spare parts service. They had to come from interstate. And so if something broke, you were fucked. Like your sliding door wasn't moving. So that's where he started his next business, which was actually manufacturing them like quality parts for sliding doors. And that's where there's L-Track, there's L-Gate.
Yeah, they're one of my suppliers.
Yeah.
He's got there's 3 or 4 of them wrapped into one.
Yeah, and so like they're basically the name for like gates and sliding door parts.
A huge. Most stockists will have his stuff.
fucking hell.
And it's good stuff. Like it makes sense. They put a lot of effort into thinking about how like their half pin barrel hinges. The way that they're made is a very simple design, but it's like there's an interlocking lug in it that you wouldn't get anywhere else. So you can drop a gate on and close it, but you couldn't lift the gate off of the barrel hinge.
All right. Yep.
So and it's stuff like that. That's No one had thought about that.
I mean, that's what inspired me. Firstly, from his self-made nature of his businesses to like the fact that it was funded originally from rabbit trapping to then me being a very design-minded person. And in talking to him, even as we were walking around his house, he showed us things like a barbecue he'd modified for cooking up crabs. He's like, well, there's nothing out there that can do the job. So this is what I've made or had manufactured that does the job. You can remove these compartments, this, blah, 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 blah. So the way he thinks is, this is what there is. I think I can do it better, put the time and effort in to improve it, and then sell it. And it's very simple, but I'm like,
I believe he was also born in the ripe period of doing that, being able to do
Industrial.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the manufacturing. It was like prime manufacturing.
Yeah.
he's come through with a lot of expansion in the right areas and being in the right place at the right time. True, but it's still a very inspiring story.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
without a doubt.
Yeah. All successful businesses have, like, there is people that have really good ideas and are just not in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, man. And
Luck
yeah.
has a massive role to play.
Well, yeah, just being in the right place, right time. Definitely. I mean, having said that, though, there's not. That's inspiring from a hunter's point of view because they're trapping that many rabbits and making that much money in equivalent days dollar. Probably not possible.
Yeah. Well,
Anymore.
But back then, like, you'd strike while the iron's hot. Like,
Oh, definitely.
Fuck.
Yeah.
speaking of, they are bringing back the bounty on fox scalps.
Foxes, they have brought it back. It's
Yeah.
$10.
$10, yeah. So they haven't got a set drop-off point. You have to look up where it's going to be because it moves around with, I think it's in conjunction with cattle sales, if I'm thinking right. They have to jump online and have a look at that. But yeah, it's $10 a scalp. They don't accept frozen blocks. You have to have them individual. So yeah, which would be good.
Let's start shooting some more foxes.
Well, given the fucking price of ammunition now, it'd be nice to make a little bit of money back on hunting.
bloody oath.
Oh, fucking A. Except, if you're hunting foxes, yeah. If you're hunting deer, you're making money back in the meat. It's a $1.40 for a deer. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, buck for plus the $5,000 that you spent on your rifle and scope.
Oh, it's a tool.
It's a tool.
Oh, it's a tool.
You're a bloody.
That's true.
That's I think we've spoken about this before, Caleb, like, about trying to get him onto the show.
That would be.
He sounds like
quite
a
interesting.
eccentric, self-made man.
Shoot him an email, just see what he says.
It'd be funny, eh? But like,
Do you still have his number? And if not, why didn't you say it on your personal phone?
bloody, I have every number I've ever connected saved on my personal phone, work or otherwise.
Oh, boom.
So look,
made this
he's a great guy. Like, he's getting later on in life and he's had a few health issues.
I feel like we could get drunk with him very easily.
Yes, you could easily.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we sat there and just drank vodka seltzers on a Friday afternoon when we're supposed to be working.
That's a testament to the qualities of the man.
Yeah, fucking A. You got time's most precious thing, man. If you can sit down with a dude and drink a beer with him and give him 10 minutes, well, fuck me.
He taught me a few things. He also showed me he brought up an app which showed the world debt of every country versus their GDP.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fucked. Okay, so Australia's not that bad, all right? But compared to other countries, like China find. So how much they owe other countries versus how much they produce a year, they're fine.
They're coming to the peak of their industrial age, though. Like
Don't people owe
industrial
China?
economy?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Other countries owe China money, like the US.
Oh, yeah, trillions.
So this is where the
Trillions.
balance of power will change eventually. So, there was a few things that I learned on a higher level that day, as well as drinking some alcohol and talking to a man in his jocks. But it was fun.
Was he in his underwear the whole time?
the whole time, the whole
Fucking
fucking
A.
time? Because you're just like, you know what? Fuck it, whatever.
That is the best.
I
You
mean,
know what you should have done? Just taking your pants off at the same time.
I should have. I mean, I felt overdressed the whole time. Like, we're sitting by a pool drinking alcohol. I should have been wearing less, but no.
And Versace fucking flip-flops.
Fucking oath.
Anyway, I think we'll move us on to this week's.
ND!
Indeed.
Negligent discharge. Quality.
Fucking seamless is what that was.
Yeah.
And it's me again. Right. This is my ND. It happened yesterday, right? I'm fired up. So I left my house while I was at home, fucking crook, not working.
COVID.
I had my COVID test. I passed it. I had to go to the shops,
He
all right?
passed it. He was positive.
Passed it. It was a negative result, right?
So
So I had to go out to the shops for some supplies. I've mostly recovered. So in my street, there was some blokes jackhammering the curb to put in a new driveway, all right? And I've driven past them, gone to the shops, driven back, past them again. They've got their speed signs up, 25 k's an hour, all that piss, right?
Did you adhere to
The
it?
residents of the houses are parked on the street. There's not much room. Like whatever, I'm doing 30 k's an hour. Max.
So you were speeding.
Like you couldn't zoom up and down the street because of all the cars parked in the street, right? So it was tight to navigate. So I was doing 30, right? I was in second gear, right? So there's no way I'm going that fast.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, later on in the day, I've come past a third time as they're packing up. And there's two blokes. One's an old, crotchety old dude. One other guy's a bit younger, right? Oh, the younger bloke's already in the fucking truck. Old bloke packing up the speed limit sign, and he's got the stands for it, right? And as I've driven past the third time, he's recognised me again, held up the fucking stands and like motioned to fucking hit my car with him.
oh.
I'm like, you grumpy old fuck. So I've stopped my vehicle and I've reversed back to him. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? And he says to me, stop fucking whizzing past, mate. You're fucking going way too fast. You speed racer. What are you doing? You'll kill someone. I'm like, mate, I'm doing 30 kilometers an hour. He's like, oh, well, the sign says 25. I said, mate, you fucking pucked up the sign. There is no fucking sign. I said, 5 Ks an hour. You going to die over 5 Ks an hour? I said, I think you fucking need to go home and have a beer, mate. And I thought, I'm looking at this bloke and I'm like, at no point was I endangering his life, driving within 2 meters of where he was standing, jackhammering or otherwise.
Let's face it, it's a 4-cylinder fucking manual, second gear. You're probably not even going 30 Ks. Having said that, second thing comes to mind, I do know you, and you do like to fucking speed through the
You
back
know me as a
roads.
leadfoot, but that was when I was not paying for my own fuel. I'm no longer a leadfoot.
Did they have a buffer zone on their, like a buffer zone, which means they'd have a 25k zone sign and then 20 meters and another 25k zone?
No.
Then it wasn't a legal setup.
They had
you could be
one-
doing 50 and they couldn't do
They
fuck
had
all.
one 25k sign either side of their work site.
Doesn't matter shit. A cop cannot, this is for those playing at home, traffic control course coming out here. If they do not have a buffer zone, a police officer, if they're attending the scene, before they pull out their ray gun, their speed ray gun,
Ray gun.
the ray gun, they will go and check the buffer zone to make sure it's compliant to the traffic act. Because if it's not, you can fight the fine and they will have to let you off. Because if the zone isn't set up properly with a buffer zone, which means they have to have a 20-meter span between the first sign and the second sign, and that's just in case you missed the first sign, you can see the second one, give you a chance to slow down. If it's not set up properly, it doesn't mean shit.
Well, that's just given me fucking permission.
In the state of South Australia.
Yeah, well, look, they had one sign each side of the fucking work site, right? And I'm sitting there going, he's the older of the two guys. I'm like, you're a fucking crotchety old dude. You've had a hard day. You've been on the jackhammer. You're probably 65. Fucking, you're like 2 seconds from retirement.
Did he have teeth?
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Just a grumpy old dude.
I fucking love when those guys. I've had a couple of have a crack at me over the years. I just get out the car and get in their face. I'm
Well,
like,
that-
you fucking what, cunt?
This is why
And then
I
they're like,
stopped.
"Yeah,
This
I
is
didn't
why
mean
I
anything by
stopped.
it."
Because I'm like, I'm not putting up with someone fucking brandishing a bloody sign and threatening to hit my vehicle with it. So I stopped, I reversed back to him, and I asked him the question, what the fuck is your problem?
Yeah.
Got a bit of pep in your step these days.
I did have
Caleb.
a bit of pep, and I was
pep.
I was ready for a fucking fight.
The old fisticuffs.
Well, I would have fucking like if he hit the car, man. I would have got out and fucking.
Oh, if he hit the
smashed him
car,
with
that
the
would have been a
fucking
whole other
sign.
thing. But the fact he threatened to hit my car with a sign, I'm like, what the hell, bro? Just
That's pretty bad. And which street was it? Was it on your?
my street I live on,
Oh man, there ain't no way
within
you're getting
300 meters of my house.
There's not even to that corner. You first that north. Were you going east or west on your street?
East. From my house, go east.
Oh man, there's no way you're getting a fucking like even 50 k's an hour before the corner.
that's just
I was not
cocky.
in a manual.
It's like the equivalent of old people that a keyboard warrior is, where they'll yell at you when you're driving by, but when you actually stop and get out, if
You
you
just
walk,
assume, right? They hear the turbo and they're like, oh, you must
See,
be fucking speeding.
I've been on the other side of that, right, where I've been working on a verge or something like that, and you think cars are speeding, but they're actually not. So I've actually been working, surprise, surprise, with Ryan's boss, my old boss, in a suburb in South Australia. And there's been a police officer that has been like 300 metres down from us, like doing his speeding test, whatever it's called. And
Ray gun.
radar. And we've been working, and I've thought cars are speeding, and he's clearly checking their speed, and they're going past, and they've been well within the speed limit.
Yeah.
So from the other side of the fence, seeing a car driving, your perception is it's faster, especially in that environment. You think it's like faster than what it actually is doing.
That said, though, like, because I've done a lot of jobs curbside. There are the absolute wankers that fly through a 25 proper setup 25k zone doing 70k's an hour. I've nearly been hit.
I bet there
But you
is.
can tell that.
I've nearly been hit like a fucking bee's dick, like walking out, literally jumping back because some dickheads walk, and they're always on their fucking phone.
But you can tell if someone's doing 70
Yeah.
in a 50 zone, man. There's a big difference there. I'm talking like, 50 to 25. And you can tell if someone's made the effort to actually slow down.
Oh shit,
in
yeah.
that time-
I mean,
in that area.
from my experience in that, you have 3 or 4 cars that do crank through out of the 20. You remember that, and then by the end of the day, you're like, fucking people not slowing down. You're like, I've deliberately. Granted, they were quite obviously speeding. I've gone out and stood in the middle of the road in front of a car that was fanging through, and given him a fucking well mouthful. But from being on the other side of the fence and seeing that, it's like you don't pay attention to the cars that are actually adhering to
slowing
it.
down, yeah.
You don't notice it. But to everyone who does slow down, it is actually a life or death scenario for the workers there, and those signs are out for a reason. So please do try to slow down.
Someone's just put their camp mum hat on.
No, well,
Pass the baton.
No, I get it. Like, I
given
get
that,
it.
like,
But I
I
was
don't-
doing 30 in a 25.
Yeah.
Fucking settle down, cunt.
I'm not one to have a crack at someone if they haven't slowed down to 25 or anything, but the people that quite obviously just sit on 60 and coast through, that's just a dick move, man.
Yeah, that is a dick move.
Because
definitely.
people are walking through there with tools in their hand on the phone. If there's people in high vis
trying to
around,
work, yeah.
they're trying to work, and they're under the assumption that you're doing 25k's now, and that's so that if it does be a close call, you've got enough time to get out the way. If you're doing 60, people don't have enough time to get out the way.
That's true. Yeah, it's probably because it was the third time I'd been passed and he recognised me. It's a big car. It's loud.
And he's probably
Blah,
had other
blah.
people fly through the street, and he's going, "Oh, fucking, I'm going to do
That's
this
the thing.
one." What I think.
You recognise one, and then or a couple out of the 20, and then you're like, you just hone in your mind about people
Fucking
speeding.
projected his rage all at me. Anyway, big man with his signs.
All right.
Well, my ND.
I think that's a wrap from us.
That is a wrap.
It is.
So, well, thank you very much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in next week. I don't know, tune in. It doesn't even tune in anymore, is it?
On the wireless.
On the wireless. Tune in on the wireless next week.
Please
Oh,
listen.
fucking Cletus, get the family in. We're going to have a hoot now around the radio. Fucking hell.
We have been Send It Mate podcast. Hit us up on Instagram. Definitely hit the share button on that. Tell people about us. Tell your friends.
Spread the word
Tell your mum.
of the virus, like I've been doing. No, I am feeling
City
better. I
mofo.
promise.
Fucking hell. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure again. I hope you have a wicked sick rest of your week or year or whatever the fuck it is that's left for you. And we'll catch you next time.
See
Catch
ya
'em.
next week.
Catch 'em, mofos.
Bye bye. Love you all.
G'day, dude and dudettes. Josh here. Do you find it hard to keep your long, hard barrels free from gun STDs? Maybe you need a clean out of your bore. If this is you, jump on over to highcaliber.com.au and use the promo code SENDITMATE to receive a 10% discount on all your gun cleaning needs. And remember, it's sexy to support Australian-made products. Everyone here at Send It Mate uses High Caliber, and we can promise you that it'll keep your firearms free from those pesky gun STDs.